In this video, you learn how to get a great tone fingerpicking guitar. Now, I get asked a lot of questions about fingerpicking guitar, but the one question that hardly anyone ever asks, but should, is how do you get a great tone fingerpicking guitar? Hi, this is Simon Candy from AcousticGuitarLessonsOnline.net, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at how to get a great tone fingerpicking guitar and the variables that contribute to that. Now, we are not talking about the type of guitar that you're using, the strings, or the type of amplifier you might play through, or effects, or anything like that. We're not talking about any of that stuff. We're simply talking about how you pluck the string to get a good tone or a varied tone. After all, as they say, tone is in the fingers. So we're going to cover things such as the correct fingerpicking hand position for a really superior tone. There's a lot of wrong ways to go about this, and it affects the sound of your fingerpicking. We'll also look at the importance of fingernails and the unique tone you get from each finger when you're plucking the strings. Plus, we'll look at the rest stroke versus the free stroke and the difference in articulation you get with these when plucking the strings of your guitar. Plus a whole lot more. So let's get into it. Let's just start by talking briefly about your hand position when fingerpicking. Now, there's a video I'll link to in the top right corner that goes into a little bit more detail about this, so I won't go on too much about it here, but you want your fingers to be more or less standing up on the strings. You don't want them really flat like this, where you're trying to pick from the side of the finger. That's not going to sound that great, and it's going to be very awkward, and there's going to be lots of tension and all sorts of things going wrong there. That's what happens when people are used to using a flat pick. We need to bring the hand up so the fingers stand up on the strings. The thumb is, if you're looking from your viewpoint, your thumb is about a 45-degree angle to the string, to the bottom string there. And the thumb, for the most part, should be in front of the fingers, and you'll get a nice sound. There's other things contributing to the sound there that we'll talk about, but just to begin, good foundation, get the picking hand in the right position to then go about plucking the strings. Now, a big contributing factor to the tone you get when finger picking is your fingernail. Now, some players don't use nails, and as a result, they get calluses on the tips of their fingers, which kind of then contribute to the tone they get, and kind of acts the same as a fingernail would. So I can't speak to that because I don't do that. I have nails. Most finger pickers will have nails. Now, you want the nail to be nice and rounded, so you need to get a nail file and you need to round the files around the nails. Otherwise they'll get caught under the string. Okay, but when you're plucking the string, it's a combination of nail and finger. How much nail to flesh of finger is it? It depends. If you want a bit of a sharper sound, you get, it's hard to say exactly, maybe a 50-50 distribution of fingernail to flesh. It's certainly not just the nail, and it's not just the flesh of the finger. It's both. Let's say about 50-50. The flesh and the nail of your finger is plucking the string, contributing to the sound you get. Now, if you get those fingers to be a little less, sort of more kind of 45-degree angle to the string, you'll get a bit of a warmer sound because you'll use more of the flesh of the finger, like this. If I bring them back around, hear the difference in the sound there? It's a bit warmer, like this. So you might want to be playing a passage or something where you want a bit of a warmer sound, so you use more of the flesh of your finger. If you want a bit of a sharper sound, you bring more of the nail into it. So the angle of your fingers to the strings here changes slightly to allow you to use more of the flesh of the finger. I don't do that too much. I generally keep my hand pretty much like this, but certainly at times I will if I want to get a bit of a warmer sound. Okay, there's other ways to work with that too, but that's something to consider there. Now, another thing with nails and just fingers in general is each finger has a different tone. Okay, so sometimes I'll choose a finger to pluck a string because I want a certain tone. So here's how I kind of hear it and think about it. This index finger is like the neck pickup on, let's say, a three-way pickup switch on an electric guitar. You've got the neck pickup, it's a bit of a warmer sound. You've got the middle pickup, that's like my middle finger. Similar, but a little bit sharper, not as warm as the index finger. If you can't hear too much difference there, I don't know how it comes across on YouTube here, it is a different tone about it. However you perceive it, it's still different. It's different than just using your first finger to pluck the string twice. And then my ring finger, that one is quite different to my ear. That's the bridge pickup, okay? That is a twangier sort of sound. So you got like a three-way pickup switch with your three fingers here. That's how I think about it. It's a different sound for each one. So quite often I use my ring finger because I like the sound of that sound. See, that's a little bit different there. That's with my middle finger and index. With my ring, sharper sound. So it's not just different fingers, it's different tone you get with the fingers. And you can really kind of hear that in tremolo picking. Tremolo picking is where you play you play a string and you tremolo it with the three fingers. The ring, middle, index. And then you're playing arpeggios on the lower strings of the chord. That type of thing. It's a really nice sound. And that's the tone of the fingers playing against each other there. Now you can also get good variation of tone with your thumb. And speaking of nails, my thumb also has a nail. And when it does, if you have a nail on your thumb, you can play, of course, down. But you can also play up picks with your thumb. Okay, so sometimes I'll put in an up pick with my thumb. I'll give you some examples in a moment. But if we're just talking about the thumb in general, even if you just pluck down, you can angle your thumb so you get more of the flesh. And you can, or even just the flesh. I'm not getting any nail there. That's just the flesh of my thumb. Or I can get the thumb and use the nail mostly and get a very sharp sound. Or somewhere in between. So I can get quite a range of tone just on my thumb alone, picking down using the nail and the flesh of the thumb and different distributions, if you like, of those. So if I'm playing something like a walking bass line, I'm going to use kind of the flesh of my thumb to get a mellower sound, sort of like that type of thing, right? I'm going to get that mellower sound in that particular situation. Sometimes when I'm playing a walking bass, I will I'll put in the occasional sort of up pick with my thumb, this sort of thing. I do like a little muted thing to emulate a walking bass. That type of thing. Sometimes with just little chord connections in, let's say, between an A minor and a C. You can get a bit of a sharper articulated sound with an up pick. Or if you want a warmer sound, just use down. Okay, these things, again, make a huge difference, and there's no right or wrong here. What's really preferable is to have a range, a large dynamic range of tone that you can get by using thumb and flesh and all these things that we're covering here today. Another thing to consider when plucking the strings is whether you use a free stroke or a rest stroke. So personally, I pretty much always use a free stroke. But it would be remiss of me to not let you know about this if you're not aware of it, because it might be something you want to explore yourself. So a free stroke is when you pluck a string, for example, the top string here, and you pluck it and you follow through with the finger. You just pluck it freely and it ends up, plucking the string, and it ends up just slightly curled up into your hand there, right? When you're plucking the string. A rest stroke is when you pluck that string and you come to rest on the string below. Like this. So I'm plucking the same string, as you can hear, same finger, but instead of following through and just having that finger curl up into my, sort of curls into my finger there, for want of a better way of articulating that to you, the rest stroke, that's the free stroke. The rest stroke is when you pluck the string and come to rest on the string below. And you can already hear the more articulation with the rest stroke. So you might have notes on the top string with the free stroke. If you use the rest, you can hear a big difference much louder, more articulated than the free stroke. So the rest stroke is used a lot in classical and flamenco types of music. I don't play a lot of those styles, so that's why I don't use it so much. It's something I'd like to explore myself. You can certainly hear the more of the articulation than the free stroke. Okay, a lot of the time when you're playing through chords, you're going to be using the free stroke. Okay, it's going to be the typical approach that you use, but the rest stroke is well worth exploring and gives you a much more articulated, louder sounding note when you pluck the string. And lastly, very quickly here, where you play on the string will affect the tone you get. So if I just pluck a C chord here, arpeggiated C chord, if I play closer to the bridge, I get a twangier sound, as you can hear. But if I play closer to the fretboard, there's a huge difference there. Versus, right? Most of the time we play over the sound hole, sort of around, splitting the sound hole in half there. That's a pretty warm sound, but if you want a twangier sound, go closer to the bridge. If you want an even warmer sound, go over sort of the fretboard. Okay, it's like turning the tone knob on an electric guitar, only we're getting it by playing on different parts of the length of the string here. Okay, so again, sharper sound, twangier next to the bridge. That's typically where we play here over the sound hole. Very nice and warm. That's what the sound that's the position you generally want to be in. And then over the fretboard gives you a bit of a warmer sound. So most times you're going to be here, but to get variation, to turn that tone knob effectively, you can move towards the fretboard or towards the bridge of the guitar. If you like this video, you'll love this ebook complete with video examples called 10 melodic fingerpicking patterns you can learn in 10 minutes or less. Do you struggle to make the fingerpicking patterns you learn on guitar sound like music? Perhaps it's because you believe in one or more of these fingerpicking pattern myths. 1. You need to know a lot of patterns to have your fingerpicking sound musical. 2. Only advanced fingerpicking patterns sound musical. Easy patterns are too basic to sound any good. Or 3. There is a magic pattern out there somewhere that once found will finally have your fingerpicking sound the way you want it to. None of these myths are true. This is because fingerpicking patterns alone are not musical. They're technical. It's what you do with the patterns that will determine how musical they sound. In this ebook, you learn how to make the most boring fingerpicking patterns sound amazing instantly. Plus, the simple trick to make advanced fingerpicking patterns easier to play, and the thumb and one finger trick that's so simple and will have your fingerpicking sounding pro in no time. Click the link in the description below this video and download your free ebook complete with video examples, 10 melodic fingerpicking patterns you can learn in 10 minutes or less. You'll have it in your inbox within minutes. Let me know in the comments below this video what acoustic guitar topics you'd like to see me cover in future videos. Let me know of ways you like to get a really nice tone fingerpicking guitar. It makes such a difference. It's these small little things that make your playing sound pro versus amateur. So let me know if you've got any particular ways you like to pluck the strings to get a really cool sound. If you like this video, then hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and then of course hit the all important notification bell button, because then YouTube can tell you when I've released a new video. Thank you very much for being here. This is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net. I really, as always, appreciate your time, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.